I have lost a couple of valuable talk videos, and as a result, I make a backup copy with my iPhone. If all goes well, both versions should appear on my YouTube site. Uh, Although you can see me, I'll have as a word for the Pennsylvania Masons who observation my videos neurocompulsively. They don't like to see my mug. It reminds them too much of a little St. Louis boy they molested horribly over in the Eastminster district of organized crime in the city of Pittsburgh. It's just proven fatal to talk about the state of Pennsylvania. I'd like to discuss the clever arrangements whereby the attackers behind AIDS got away with COVID too, both of which were obviously organized crimes from the federal establishment. When I say obviously, I'll make some of it more obvious than it is allowed to appear. What the fascists did was they said, aha, free speech in America, provided that democratic republics own the newspapers. So let's buy the newspapers before we smack them upside the head. So they bought the newspapers. Half the fellows at the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, where my grandfather worked, was in on it. Midwestern types, you know, from the hick, the kind that get the ear of the black man, you know, with their whispers. So they have it all figured out. Now, they booted our grannies off the face of the earth. I remember a story about a beautiful woman. I saw her picture. And the difficulty they had explaining to children that she was gone. Well, Peter Gabriel has the antidote. He brings in African world peep. And African world peep already know the losers in the United States don't care about anybody but themselves. So UW Dialectical Sense in Spooner Beanie Cornell West, he calls it smashing the empire. Boy, they're brilliant. Ichiro Suzuki used to play in Seattle, and no doubt he chose his number 51 because Adolf Hitler was 51 when he occupied Paris, which Trumpy Tune has pointed out is the capital of Germany. Mercy, mercy. The Biden administration has an ideology. They look at Macron, he's celebrated online Asian adult fiesta and say, change. They don't know what change is. If they knew what change was, they'd notice the change in a timid 12-year-old, a picky eater who was battered senseless and forced, tortured by horrible monsters from the city of Pittsburgh to succumb to demands that he swallow neurocongestive hallucinogens while breathing inhalants in a locked garage as they subjected him to unwanted pervert gestures. Old Joe Biden doesn't know what change is. They say change. When I got old enough to where it was legal, I noticed that the Federal Emergency Management Agency was holding a loping. And what I mean by loping, they were circling their prey. And they built a Venus flytrap, called me up to Mount Desert Island, of all places, the immunogenetics laboratories. And there was a woman from the Society for Human Ecology with needle tracks on her arms and a tattoo of the Grim Reaper, you know, with the sickle from Love and Death by Woody Allen, pointing at her vagina on the inside of her thigh. I said, what the hell are they doing? This is a CIA war game about their Venus flytrap of AIDS. The police should be arresting these people. And they had Joe Kaplan going through my car, going, no, son, wiggling the parochial finger at me while Penis Gabriel burned down the labs and said, Spinner Beanie time, experience part. I talked to artists and technologists in Clint Eastwood with the experience part in mind, and they put skin creatures on my arms and stuff. What they were working out was Joe Kaplan had gotten Wattenmaker's script by Gail Burson. The Israelis were doing to America what they do to the Palestinians, in other words. The Israelis, read my lips, slanders. The Israelis were doing to America what they do to the Palestinians, is what that means. And they had Midori Goto standing there. Oh, he's going to want me next. It's perfectly thoughtful because at East West Circuit outside Cyril Weck's house, where Martin Adelman introduced me to the gunner boy from Harvard, Magna Cum, of the Neva Corporation script, well, he yelled, no, stop, don't stop, don't stop, don't stop. And Coach Leslie Katz, who graduated party outside Cyril Weck's, middle cluster. So Frippy Toon, remember the loping circle? Frippy Toon could come and say the neuroplasia that we impacted in Jimmy Queerball means Leslie's virginity proves rape, and they cut off Jimmy Queerball in Seattle. And this is all true, verifiable story. They made me an object lesson for their psychopathy and the AIDS attack. Poisoned me in the mouth to set up COVID. La-di-da. And Biden says change. He couldn't even adapt to the situation by giving echo school lectures. Biden doesn't know what change is. He's an ideologue. So they ignore the personality change because what they have in mind is performativity. I got that word here at Tacoma Community College. Performativity. I remember I used to call Todd Tivity. He has a big Tivity word now. And they index the thing, so you have Bernie S for Bernie Slanders, and no less than a postal union magnate named Bernie Slobodniak, the Slav maniac, that we must do something about. We must make them change. We must make them change. We'll give them a Slav maniac object lesson. And they chase my letters to Courtney Kennedy and murder 2 Kennedys. It's nothing to JNC. Derek Kilmer doesn't even send me a polite letter. I know about your tragedy, queer ball. They don't know anything at all about change. The only change they're interested in is whether their experiment worked. They wanted to change me. Well, I still believe that they should have talked these issues out and had provisions for families, for public school children. Instead, you get these guys. Pittsburgh black culture is a hoot. I saw one of Lucarelli's friend's father. I thought he had seen him earlier in the week, and because somebody downtown had waved to me and been very friendly to me. I said, didn't I see you? And he goes, we all look alike. He was chewing the carpet, man. I was like, oh my God, what did I say? And Duvall says, I know the Bush started AIDS, and I support him for it. And I think of that beautiful grandmother. Was she black or white? The beautiful grannies here, black women, came and helped me when I was sick when the lockdown happened. They brought me things. I'm not an ingrate. These were wonderful, kind, generous people. And they were black women. Oh my God, that's different. You get a point. So they get rid of our grannies with death tattoos and reward themselves with autographed sneakers. Marked 51 for Adolf Hitler's birthday when he occupied the capital of Germany. Ain't that something, Trumpy Toon?